Welcome back to GS with Harvey. Today is 21st of November and we are going to discuss the important news of the Hindu and the PIB. Let us begin. The first news is winter session of Parliament got delayed because of Gujarat polls. So first let us know about the parliamentary sessions. Usually there are 3 sessions in a year. That is budget session which starts from February to May. Second is monsoon session which starts from July to September, and third is winter session that starts from November and ends in December. The longest session is monsoon session. We should know about this. Actually, what happens, there should not be a gap of more than 6 months between two parliamentary sessions. The- Every year the winter session starts around 10th of November, but this year today is 21st of November and still the winter session is not started. So this is a cause of concern because if a session got delayed, then there will be less number of days for a parliamentarian to work on to discuss the important acts. Actually, there is also a provision that president can summon a session, but we already know that president can do so on the advice of ministers. We should not forget that Cabinet Committee on Parliamentary Affairs decides the date of session. So this was the news. Now let's move to the next news item that is related to tiger census. Government has decided to the government has decided to start a tiger census which is going to held in December and January. In this year, in this the tiger census this year, the government will not use any manual work because in manual counting, there is a maximum chance of human error, and to reduce the human error and to provide a reliable estimate of tigers, government is planning to introduce for the very first time an application which is known as M-Stripes, which stands for Monitoring System for Tiger Intensive. What actually does M-Stripes and is that it basically gives the data of tigers scientifically. The M stripe is developed by Wildlife Institute of India, Dehradun, and it is for the very first time the government is planning to do using the M stripes. Actually, we are using M stripes for tiger census, but it is already been in place in some national parks. That is mandatory only now for the all India tiger estimation. It is a free application that will be made available to start participating in tiger census exercise. Let's know about the what is M stripes. As I told you that M stripe is a scientifically designed application which will help to reduce the human error and help us in giving a correct data. The first time the national tiger estimate were conducted in 2006, and let us not forget that tiger census is conducted once in 4 years. In the very first exercise, the total number of tiger count was 1411. In 2010, that is after a gap of 4 years, the count changes to 1706, and after 4 years again in 2014, the tigers number grew up to 2226. So it will be very interesting for us to see that what is going to be the exact number of tigers, because in this very tiger census for the very first time government is planning to use am strips. So let us look at a question which is being asked in this year UPSC prelims. The term stripes is sometimes seen in the news in the context of. So the question is very easy. I would like to tell you that there are many number of questions which are directly asked in the examination, and we should try not to leave those questions. So let's move to the next news item that is related to infra status for logistics sector. The news item is the context of the news is that the government has granted infrastructure status to the logistics sector. The what will the benefit of lo- what will the benefit of granting it a infrastructure status? First, we should know about what is the logistics sector. The logistics sector includes the warehousing, the transportations, infrastructure industries. So these all things comprises of logistics sectors, even cold chains. So what will be the benefit that the they have got the infrastructure status? The benefit will be that now the loans will be at very low interest rate. They will be now able to get the loans at very low interest rate. So this will be the benefit. The point here for us to remember is that logistics sector has got a infrastructure status. Now let's move to the next news item, which is regarding the Moscow Declaration. What is Moscow Declaration? We should never forget that Moscow Declaration is related to ending TB, that is tuberculosis, in the sustainable development manner by 2030. So this is the important thing. We should not forget that Moscow Declaration pertains to ending TB in the sustainable development period by 2030. India is also among the signatories of the declaration. India has also signed the Moscow Declaration. This Moscow Declaration was declared by, there was a conference held by WHO on ending this TB. So now let's know about now let us know some facts about WHO. WHO stands for World Health Organization and it is a specialized agency of UN. It was established in 1948, and the most important thing is that it is concerned with the international public health issues. WHO always intervenes when there is a spark danger of public health issues on an international level. The headquarters of WHO is Geneva, at Geneva, Switzerland. And we should also not forget that India is also a founder member of WHO, and also India is signatory to Moscow Declaration. Now let's move to next news item, which is related to Aadhaar data. Aadhaar data was never breached. Recently, what happens that over 200 government website has displayed the Aadhaar related data of beneficiaries, but government has declared that there has been no breach of Aadhaar data, and government tells that these data were collected from the third party users for various welfare schemes. So government has made clear that their database is very safe and there is no breach in their database of the Aadhaar data related issue. But the main question is that if the government has not shared the data, then how their databases were breached and the data of 200 beneficiaries were leaked over 200 government websites. So this is a bigger question. Now let us know something about UIDAI. UIDAI is a statutory body which is established in 2016 under Aadhaar Act. Before giving the statutory status, it was attached office to the Planning Commission or Niti Aayog. So no, next move to the news item. Next news is Power Tax India scheme. The Power Tax India scheme is related to textile. We should remember this. This is started by Textile Ministry. And what will this scheme do? This will increase the subsidy for the power loom sector from 10% to 30%. This scheme will increase the subsidy, or you can say that this scheme will give the subsidy from 10%, which is increased to 30%. It will be a 3-year comprehensive scheme which will help in developing the power loom sectors. The scheme will also comprises the various or you can say it will also benefit the various schemes of textile ministry, such as group workshare scheme, yarn bank scheme, pradhan credit scheme for power loom weavers, etc. So we should keep in mind that This scheme is related to giving the subsidy to 30%. Right now this is 10%, which will increase to 30% by this scheme. Now let us move to the next news item, which is related to home guards. Home guard is an Indian paramilitary police force. The home guard organization was reorganized in India after the India-China war with PRC, that is People Republic of China. Home guards are recruited from various cross sections of the civil society, such as professionals, college students, agriculture, and industrial workers. Well, the age limit criteria or the joining criteria for home guards is that the age group of a citizen should be between 18 to 50 years, and the normal tenure of membership in home guard is 3 to 5 years. So this is basically news item. We should remember that home guards comes under Indian paramilitary police force. Now let's move to the next item, that is Dalbir Bhandari. This is in news from 2 to 3 days that Dalbir Bhandari is re-elected to International Court of Justice. Dalbir Bhandari will be act as a judge in ICJ, that is International Court of Justice. He was elected after Britain withdrew its candidate from the election. This is the first time, we should not forget that this is the first time since the International Court of Justice was established in 1945 that there will be no British judge in the ICJ. Also, there is a remarkable point that Dalbir Bhandari is the fourth Indian judge to be elected in International Court of Justice. The first one was B.N. Rao, followed by Nagendra Singh and R.S. Pathak. So Dalbir Bhandari is elected as judge in International Court of Justice. Now let us discuss some facts about International Court of Justice. It is basically a principal judicial body of UN. It was established in 1945 via a UN charter, and its jurisdiction is worldwide. The headquarters of ICJ is at Hague, which is a place in Netherlands, and it has 193 state parties. The current president is Ronnie Abraham. If we talk about the major functions of ICJ, then these are to settle the legal disputes submitted to it by states, and it also helps in providing the advisory opinions on legal questions submitted to it by duly authorized international organs, agency, and UN General Assemblies. So this is all about. So we have finished all the important news. So thank you for listening.